Colleton County School District Internet Safety. Session topic, Scams and Schemes. What is identity theft and how can you protect yourself from it?
Hello, my name is Shelby Lee Simmons and I'm the Parent Involvement Coordinator for the Colleton County School District. Thank you for viewing our online session on Scams and Schemes, ways to protect yourself and your children online. Please enjoy.
Scams and flim-flam. Has it happened to you? A scammer is a person who has the intention of stealing money or private information from you, and they commit the crime of identity theft, a type of crime in which your private information is stolen and then used for criminal activity. You're vulnerable if you're in a position where you can be harmed or attacked by people who phish. Phishing is when people send you phony emails, pop-up messages, social media messages, or other contacts in order to hook you into giving out your personal and financial information. Do you know someone who's been scammed? What happened? Do you think it's common for people to be scammed on the internet? Why or why not? Take a few seconds to think about the possible scams and schemes that you might encounter online. What about older or younger members of your family? Are they more or less susceptible? Now that you understand some of the basic terms that we'll be using in this session, let's answer the question, what is identity theft? What is your identity and how can it be stolen?
In this section of video, we're going to discover what your identity is and the intent of those who would steal your identity. What can they do with things like your name, address, passwords, credit account information, and how can you protect yourself?
You know, scammers don't always have to get money from you directly. Instead, they can use strategies to trick you into giving them your private information. They can then use that information to access your bank and credit card accounts or other personal accounts. They can even recreate your identity and produce false documents such as social security cards, credit cards, or driver's licenses in someone else's name. Identity thieves look for any information that might help them pretend to be you. So, when you're online or in other environments, giving out things like your name, date and location of birth, address, phone numbers, or other sensitive numbers and information can be extremely dangerous. Let's talk about scams. One scam is for people to get your social security number. Once they have it, they can use it to apply for mortgages, payday loans, cars, student loans, all racking up debt in your name, and guess what? They're not going to pay for it, you are. Clearing your name and social security number from identity theft can take days, months, or even years. So protecting yourself in the first place is the safest, wisest course of action. How to catch a fish. How do identity thieves try to get your information?
Have you ever wondered the most common ways for identity thieves, scammers, schemers, and phishers to try and get your personal information? Well, one of the most popular ways is through email. This next section will teach you some of the telltale signs to help you protect yourself and your children from these scams and schemes. There are several common features of phishing emails. They'll want to verify your account information or use a sense of urgency. You will often notice spelling errors or statements like your account is in trouble. Very often in an email, there'll be a link or an attachment that they'd like you to open. Typically, the messages are too good to be true, that you've won millions of dollars, or that if you just answer this question, you'll be awarded a new job. Typically, they feature a generic greeting. Instead of using your first and last name, they might say, "Dear Sir," or "Madam," or "Valued Customer." And another feature is that your email address and website may not match. For example, it may say that it is from PayPal.com, but when you look up in the send, it'll say it's from pay@pal.com. So not matching up exactly or even being completely different is a sign that that communication is a scam. Now it's time to spot a scam. Each of the next 3 slides contains emails that are phishing emails. What we'd like you to do is take this opportunity to review the email and figure out which characteristics of a phishing email, of a scam, are evident in this email. The answers will appear after about 30 seconds. Compare your answers with the answers on the screen and give yourself a point for each correct answer. Let's take a look at email 1. You open up your email account and you see a message that says account status. You click on it. This is the email that you see. You look at the greeting, the content, the links. Is this a phishing email? Well, it definitely is. But what are the characteristics that you see? Would you be able to spot the scam? Here are the features we identified: a generic greeting, a need to verify your account information, a sense of urgency, spelling errors, and a link in the email. When you see these things, especially all combined, you know that this is a scam. Did you notice any other characteristics? Here is another opportunity to spot a scam. Carefully read this email and identify features that will help you determine that this is a scam. Take a good look at each part of the email: the from, subject line, greeting, content, links, and closure. Now let's review. First of all, the email address the message is coming from is not paypal.com. There's a generic greeting. The text of the message says that your account is in trouble. There are spelling errors, a need to verify your account information, a sense of urgency, and a link in the email. Here is another opportunity to spot a scam. Carefully read this email and identify features that will help you determine that this is a scam. Take a good look at each part of the email: the from, subject line, greeting, content, links, and closure. Here are the features we identified for email 3. There's a generic greeting. It contains a message that is just too good to be true. You've won $500 million in a lottery that you never entered. You should also look a little bit more deeply into the content of the email. At first it says you may receive a check, but in the next paragraph it tells you to contact a third party to receive your winnings and does not provide contact information for the primary company, the people who are supposedly awarding the prize. This is a scam. Now that you can identify a scam, how do you protect yourself? Here are several suggestions about how to be scam-free. First of all, avoid opening emails and messages from strangers. Once you've decided to open an email, look for the characteristics of phishing that you've already learned. And then, if you feel that the email might be a scam, do not click on any of the links or open any of the attachments. Do not reply to them. Report phishing or mark as spam in your email. Finally, find accurate phone numbers for your accounts and verify over the phone. Do not use the phone number or website addresses. Now that you can spot a scam, what do you do with those crafty little emails? This next slide will tell you exactly what to do to continue to protect yourself. Now it's time to think like a fish. No time is better than the present. Now that you understand what identity theft is and you can identify a scam, get rid of those unwanted emails, now it's time to think like a scammer. Think like a fish. Can you create your own scamming email? And how can you use that to teach your friends and family about what to avoid? Remember, sometimes scammers will use emails and make it appear that it's coming from your address or your Facebook page. It's you wanting them to click that link. Help your family and friends to think again and protect yourself and them from scammers, schemers, and phishers. In order to complete this activity, you need to ask yourself, what kind of information do identity thieves look for and why? How do thieves try to get that information? And what can I do to avoid their scams? For this activity, you will use 4 of the features of scam emails to create your own scam email that will help you warn family and friends of the dangers of phishing. Remember the kinds of information that thieves look for, like your full name, address, date of birth, account numbers, and passwords. Remember that they're going to phish to get this information from you voluntarily. Write a sample email and share it with your family and friends, but don't email it. We're not trying to create scammers, but people who are aware and can help others. For your reference, the features of phishing are on your screen. If you would like more information on how to avoid scams, visit the websites on your screen. Thank you so much for viewing our session on scams and schemes. Now you can use your powers for good and not evil, and protect yourself, family, and friends from people who are out to steal your personal information. Please take our session survey. Thank you for completing our lesson on scams and schemes. In this lesson, you learned what identity theft is and why it is important to guard against it. You learned to recognize strategies that scam artists use to access your information and how to guard yourself and your family against phishing and identity theft. Please continue the educational process by completing the activities, the quiz, and then evaluating this session.